Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sumukascha Ekadantascha Kapilo Kajakarnakaha Lambodharascha Vikato Vignarajo Vinayakaha Dhumaketur Ganadhyakshaha Palachandro Gajananaha Vakratundaha Sursakarno Herambaha Skandapurvajaha Uklambaradharam Vishnum Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopasanteye यस्यद्वरदवक्त्राध्या पारिषद्या परस्सतं विघ्नं निघ्नन्ति सततं विश्वक्सेनं तमाश्रये गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय कृष्णाय अक्लिष्टकारिणे नमो वेदान्तवेद्याय गुरवे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे कृष्णद्वैपायनं व्यासं सर्वभूतहिते रतं वेदाभ्यवाक्तरं वन्दे समाधिनिलयं मुनिं यन्नाद्यस्य यतः अन्वयात् इतरतश्च अर्थेषु अभिज्ञः स्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायः आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत् सूरयः तेजोवारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि धर्मः प्रोचितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सताम् वेद्यं वास्तवम् अत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनं श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृदि अवरुध्यते अत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषिभिः तत्क्षणात् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं सुखमुखात् अमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिकाः भुवि भावुकाः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमम् देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्. So, with Bhagavan's case, let us continue. We came up to Slokam 50 in Adhyayam 26 in Skandham number 3. Now, just to recap, so that when we continue, it will be easier for you. In Slokam 47, let us start from 47 very quickly. Akasam has a distinctive characteristic. We know that. Now, that is sound. Now, the sound itself becomes an object of perception. The senses of perceptions are there, right? The perception is five different ways. One of the objects of perception is sound. And the thing that has sound as object of perception is the sense of hearing. Okay, so from Namoho Gunavisheshaha Arthaha Yasya Tat Srotram Uchite. Srotram means sense of hearing. The same way, the special characteristic of Vayu, which is the characteristic of Vayu, we went through all that, right? And the thing that senses that special characteristic is a sense of touch. That's parsanam. Tejoho gunavisheshaha arthaha yasya tat chakshuhu uchyate. Number 48. The same way, for fire, for Agni, which has got its own special characteristics, but that has to be perceived by something, and that is called the sense of vision, chakshuhu, we call it. Amboho, the same way, gunavisheshaha arthaha yasya tat. Ambaha, the water, the special characteristic of water is taste. So the taste becomes the object for the sense of taste, right? Bhumehe gunavisheshaha arthaha yasya saha granaha uchite. So bhumi, the special characteristic of bhumi is smell. And the smell becomes the object of perception for the sense of smell. Okay, I hope that's clear. Now, in 49, very beautifully, all these, summarizing the 49 in the last sentence, see, each succeeding the Bhutangal has the characteristics of the previous one. So we saw that earlier. So the final one, Bhumi, has got the characteristics of all. It's got the characteristic of Vayu, Agni, Akasam, Vayu, Agni, as well as Jalam. So all these characteristics are present in Bhumi. Then we came up to that. Now, picture backwards. So this is what is there right now. Okay, we try to understand creation, which, as I mentioned to you in the beginning itself, and I tell you again, it is not possible to understand it with our intelligence. Okay, and you're going to see that in the next Slokam or two. It will be quite befuddling and amazing it will be. It will be beyond understanding. Okay, at least at my level, for sure. Okay, now, the Atmanyanam you have, then of course everything is different. Because the creator, the creation can be understood, can be known only by the creator. Okay, and the creation cannot be known by the created entity. It's not possible. So we are all created entities, so that's why we are suffering. But going back anyway, with the limited thing, we can at least appreciate what on earth the dimensions are, as Kapila Bhagavan is teaching us. So now going back, so you had Kalam is there, and Mahatattvam is there. We saw all that. Prakriti, the Gunangal are there. And then from there came the Pranan and the Buddhi, the Karya Sakti and the Jnana Sakti, right? Those things came. Then from the other part of the Ahankaram, from the other aspect, the Tamasic aspect of Ahankaram, we saw the Pancha Tanmatregal came. And each one gave rise to one of the Panchabhudagas. Up to that point, we have come. No, they are all independent and separate. They are not joined together. Okay. So what Slokam 57, for Slokam 50, for the here is where we have to keep in mind two things. And very beautifully Swami Prabhupada in ISKCON very beautifully gives an example, which I'll share with you. Hopefully that will throw a little bit of light. So after these various constituents, if I can use a word, for creation, and they were all lying there disparate and separately. And we saw earlier in Adhyayam 2, in Skandam 2. So these were now, even though everything came only from Bhagavan, okay, but you need to so-called activate them. They need to combine together in order for the creation to take place. So Bhagavan, okay, along with Kalam and the Kriya Sakti, the tendency to work, and the three gunas, right? Then he entered, that is, he manifested himself into these 7 items. The 7 items are the Pancha Mahabhutangal, Mahatattvam, and Ahamkaram. Okay? So, these, remember, now we are following the tamasic aspect. The Mahatattvam then gave rise to, there were 3 things that took place, if you recall, okay? And if not, please review that. That's why I offered the volunteer homework for you, because it could end up getting confusing very quickly. It looks like so simple, but you need to keep track of what on earth is happening where. So these 7 items, Bhagavan manifested. Now the word is, word given here is Upavisate. Upavisate, see, in one word of English translation, it's entered. But Upavisate, it Avisate means to sit, like to place yourself there. Upavisate means to place it in those things. Basically, Bhagavan manifested that element of divine energy, the divine force, manifested in these various, in these 7 elements, which were disparate. By doing that, they were all remaining kind of unmixed, so to speak. By doing that, then the creation started. So, this sounds so, it is confusing in the beginning. If you know what is it, I don't understand. It sounds clear, but at the same time, it is not clear. The way to look at it, instead of trying to understand what the universe is, okay, which I really don't know, and I don't think anybody knows, to be very frank. and trying to understand what the star is and the planet is and all these things. So let us leave that aside for a minute. Let us make it extremely personal. Okay? So I am here and I know I have created. So I'm a material gross creation. This body is here. Let us take that as an example. How did this body get created? Once we get an insight, a little bit of an insight into it, a glimpse into it, then the teaching of Kapila Bhagavan in Slokam 51, which is so wondrous, it is 51 and 52, okay, so wondrous, then slowly we'll get an idea into it, okay, with no way, I repeat again, we can understand it. It's not possible. For that, I have to enter into samadhi, become one with myself, and then only the creation can be fully known. But an insight, an intellectual insight is, how did my body come about? Think about it, right? Okay, we call it what we call in English as the sexual connection between two bodies take place. And there are liquids that's involved, which is separate actually, right, isn't it? But the thing is, that's what we call as matter, right, a gross thing. But by itself, it doesn't do anything. Now, but when it is disparate, it doesn't do anything. But when the divine energy, what we call as the soul, my Jivatma, my previous birth, now I'm taking now body, birth into another body, let us say. In this body, whatever I was in my previous birth, in this birth I'm taking this body. So that soul, that divine energy, enters that gross liquids in that which were disparate, and they combine, and then that slowly that begins to take a shape of a body. Same thing in everything, whether it is a plants reproducing or animals reproducing, whatever you think of, there is this kind of thing that is there. Things that were disparate, for them to join together, the divine force that is present in each one must manifest himself, so it takes a certain shape. So that is the basic idea. Okay, with that, let us look at Slokam 51 and 52. Hopefully, that see a slight introduction. Hopefully, that's helpful. Tataha tena anuvidbhyah yuktebhyah andam achetanam uttitam purusha yasmat udatishtat asau virat. Now, Kapila Bhagavan is talking about the creation, the whole universe, the cosmos, which is really in my mind. Okay, so I can picture anything I want, whether planets or universe, distant galaxies or minutest atom that I can look through a scope, whatever it may be, right? All created in my mind. But this is so huge and limitless. I can imagine anything I want, it gets created. Anything I want, it gets created. There's no limit to it, right? And but what is the substratum for all this creation? What is it lying on? What is it that's supporting it? Okay, that is Virata purusha. Okay, Virata purusha. That Virata purusha is nothing but these various disparate elements, that aspects, constituents that Kapila Bhagavan taught us so far, the Tanmatragal, the Panchabhutangal, the Mahatsattvam, which is the operating rule, the commandment to give love and receive love, that command, the love, that prema is there in everything. So that all of them, then when they join together, the creation takes place. Virata Purusha is the creation of this. Simple. Okay? Now, Virat means also very huge. And what is so huge about it? I can create the whole universe in my mind. The most distant star that even I cannot perceive with my eyes. I can create it. And where is that? What is the creation lying on, supported on? That is known as Virata Purusha. Number 51. Tataha. After this, after Bhagavan manifested himself into these disparate elements so that they can combine, okay? And Tena anuvidbhyah yuktebhyah tebhyaha, tena anuvidhebhyaha, tena, by that divine will, divine energy, whatever we want to call it, what is it that makes, if you again take the human reproduction, okay, when what we call as two chemical compounds, to put it in another way, right, the liquid form or emulsified form, whatever it may be, and we have chemistry for it, and they are disparate, but what is it that makes them join together? That divine will, divine grace I'm talking about. Tena. That is what where Bhagavan manifests himself, okay, in creation. So that tena, by that Purushottama, that Srimad Narayana, whatever way you want to call it, Anuvidhebhyaha means mixed together. Very important. The same way the example given by Prabhupada is beautiful. If I take a brick and then I take some water and I take some cement and all that, they're all separate. But for me to build a building out of it, I need to act. I need to expend that divine energy there so that I can create something, isn't it? So like that, these various constituents, the Panchatanmatrigal, etc., Mahabhudangal and Ahamkaram and Mahatattvam that we talked about, they were tena, by that Bhagavan, these Anuvidhebhyaha, they got mixed together, brought together in a congruent manner. Yuktebhyaha, because of that they joined together in harmony. Yuktebhyaha. Once that joining together comes, tebhyaha, the next word is there, tebhyaha, okay? The tebhyaha means, what are the thing constituents that have now mixed together and joined together and become harmonious as one entity? Mahatattvam, and the various things that we talked about, and the Panchatanmatrigal, and the Panchabhutangal, Ahamkaram, all those things are now in harmony, joined together. So, tebhyaha achetanam. From that came an inert, not lifeless. It is incorrect to say that a speck of sand has no life. That is wrong. Even a dead body has life in it because the atoms in there, the electrons are moving around, isn't it? Around the nucleus, even in a dead body, even in a speck of sand. So that is why one of the important teachings from Bhagavatam is the Gopikas. When the Uddhava goes to them, the example of, we see the stones crying, shedding tears in separation from Krishna. We should never forget that sarvam sajivam. So the tebhyaha achetanam, inert. Inert is very important, not lifeless, okay? So this inert, achetanam, andam uddhitam. The inert andam, the quick way we can say that, is an egg-shaped, okay? Not, that is, the egg-shaped thing is very important, ellipsoidal, whatever we want to call it. The whole universe is in that shape only. That is why when you worship lingam, Shivalingam, for example, it is always an ellipsoidal shape. That is the shape to denote the form of the formless, the shape of the universe, the form of the universe. So that is andam, okay? So that andam would become, it manifested itself. It was brought about. It was brought about by the mixing of these various constituents due to divine energy. Yasmat asau virat purushaha uttishtatah. From this andam, okay, this Virata Purusha was created. So understand? So the process of creation is given in different steps. So tataha tena anuvidhebhyaha yuktebhyaha andam achetanam uttitam purushaha yasmate Udatishtat asau Virata Purushan. Number 52. Now, 52, it's again 51 and 52. 52 could be quite baffling because Kapila Bhagavan all of a sudden throws a mathematical number into it, a quantitative number into it. All of a sudden, all this time we've been talking qualitatively, almost sequentially, if not simultaneously, right? A kind of an order to how things were taking place. All of a sudden, Swami throws in a mathematical number, and my immediate little buddhi will go into hyperspeed, trying to figure it out, which it cannot. And that, I'm telling you, that's a trap that is coming in 52. Yetat andam visheshakyam krama vruddhaihi dasa uttaraihi soyadibihi parivrutam pradhanena avrutaihi bahihi yatra loka vitanaha ayam rupam bhagavatah harehe. Very first darshanam that Brahma had, we saw that earlier on, Srimad Narayana lying down on waters, right? Remember that. So we're going back to that. How did that Narayana come there on water, right? So up to this point, we have seen how the water was created, etc., etc., etc. This Slokam is going to describe exactly what happened. 52 and 53. Okay? Now, we won't have time to even finish 52, I think, today, but we will see. So this has to be understood in consecutively. Together, we must take it up. Yetat andam visheshakyam krama vruddhaihi dasa uttaraihi soyadibihi parivratam pradhanena avrutaihi bagihi yatra loka vitanaha ayam rupam bhagavatah harehe. Now, what is the gist of the slokam? Now, this andam is a big shell, if you want to call it, like in the frame of a huge egg or shell, cosmic shell, whatever English word we want to call it. Okay. Now, this is called Visheshakyam. It is also called as Vishesham. Vishesham. The Vishesham is a colloquial term we use. And Vishesham means something that is not a superior quality, that is very different from the rest of the things, okay? The unique thing. Now, this cosmic shell is surrounded by 7 layers. Bhumi, Ambaha, Agni, Vayuhu, Akasam, Ahamkaram, and Mahat-tattvam. So, the Andam surrounded by these 7 layers. Interestingly, each layer is 10 times the extent of the previous one in creation. Remember, in creation, even if you take our body, for example, water is maximum, isn't it? 96% or some huge number is full of water only. Right? Remember that always. This is a formula that Bhagavan gives. Each layer is 10 times the extent of the previous one. So this is how the cosmic shell, the Andam, is created. So this Mahat, this and Pradhanam. And this Pradhana means, okay, Pradhana means something that is chief, okay? That's a boss, the ruler, the main one, okay? Pradhanam, on this is the cosmic shell that has been described, made out of 7 layers, right? And we saw that in this order, okay? Water is 10 times more than, the earth is 10 times more than water, like that it goes, okay? Now, on this cosmic shell, which is the same as Virata Purusha that we saw in the earlier Slokam, okay? Same, cosmic shell is nothing but Virata Purusha. The purusha means an embodiment. And the Bhagavan who's present in that is Purushottama. Okay? Anyway, so on this cosmic shell, all the world's gross and subtle, on whatever imaginations we have, thoughts we have, desires we have, invisible things, visible things, perceivable things, non-perceivable things, whatever, they are all located on this cosmic shell. This cosmic shell is what is supporting all my creation, so to speak, all of the imaginations I have. What is the substratum for it? It is this cosmic shell. So this is how the creation is. Okay? Now, this whole thing is the gross body of Bhagavan. Now, gross means perceptible, isn't it? So I do perceive creation, and the creation is nothing but a perceivable body of Bhagavan, to put it in another way. That is why Bhagavan says, Mamevamso Jivaloke Sarvabhuta Stanatanaha. He says in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, please understand that everything we see is a body of Bhagavan. A perceivable body of Bhagavan. Okay, nothing is exempt from it. Okay? So you and I are truly limbs of the same body. There is no difference. Everything is limbs, parts of the same body. Okay? On a gross way, we can easily say that. Okay? So this is the essence, the quick translation of this Slokam 53. Lots of questions come from this, isn't it? Oh my God, how is this possible? What is this 7 layers? But how am I appearing? The next Slokam very beautifully is going to say, if this is the Andam, 7 layers it is got like this, and the whole creation, everything else, that the whole world that we call it, what the world is, the universe, whatever you want to call it, they are all on this cosmic shell. Okay, Bhagihi, they're outside. Now, how did they come outside from this Andam? That is described beautifully in 53, and that is nothing but wondrous, because that's exactly how a human, if we take our own example, best thing is to always personalize it, something that I can relate to. How is a human body born? If you go back at what happens inside mother's womb, okay, what happens to the child? First for the child, the face comes, the eye comes, right? The hair comes. There are certain sequence in which a fetus develops, beautifully given in this. We're going to share that at leisurely, so that make sure that it's clear and it's not baffling. And we'll take up the Padartham of Slokam 52 with Swami's grace tomorrow. Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavanto. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavanto. Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavanto. Om Sante Sante Sante. Harihi Om.